So I'm Emilie. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Oddbox, and we're the UK's largest sustainable fruit and veg box tackling food waste at farm level. We've been operating now for the past 5 years, and what we say is that we provide an easy, tasty, and convenient way for people to actually fight climate change with every meal they take. So we obviously all know that there's a huge climate emergency, and the COP26 was there last month, and obviously we've all talked about the climate emergency. But did you know that food waste is actually the third largest contributor to greenhouse gases? Most people don't know, but actually food waste contributes to 10% of all greenhouse gas emissions. And so it's the third, so in terms of if food waste was a country, it would be the third largest contributor to greenhouse gases after the US and China. 10 years ago, the FAO reported that actually we were wasting 30% of the food we produce. However, earlier this year, WWF released a much more recent report which flagged that it was actually closer to 40%. So we overproduce a lot whilst we're living on credit. So we know that actually we don't have enough resources, enough land to produce all the food that we need to feed the population, but at the same time, we produce a lot more than what we need. And obviously, over 50% of the waste happens in our home. However, there's also a lot which happens even before it reaches the store at farm level. So 30% of all the food we waste happens pre-farm gate. And it's primarily driven by the fact that we overproduce in order to, one, ensure all year round supply. So we want strawberries in winter, we want asparagus all year round, even when it's not necessarily in season. So we import from all around the world, and people don't have a concept of season, and therefore we need to overproduce. We also have quite tight specification on how produce should look. So cucumbers are quite often bendy, but you never find bendy cucumbers on the shelf of a supermarket. They all look straight. And that means that actually all the bendy cucumbers end up being wasted, sometimes end up being processed. But that's kind of a lot of, waste is driven by that overproduction as well as the tight criteria that we have. And that overproduction puts a huge drain on the resources. Actually, on the micro level, growing and wasting, for example, 1 kilo of potato requires 300 liters of water. And 300 liters of water is the equivalent of what you use for 3 showers. In addition to the land usage, the labor and the fuel involved to grow these potatoes. So even though we're all committed to tackle the climate emergency, 70% of people are actually not aware of the role of food waste in the issue. And that's actually not really surprising. Food waste wasn't on the agenda at COP26, and it's still being ignored by most governments. And that's in spite of the fact that food waste was identified as the #1 addressable solution to the climate crisis. And so Oddbox was born actually to tackle food waste at farm level. So we say that we offer an opportunity for people to rescue delicious produce, fresh fruit and veg, which are deemed too big, too ugly, the wrong color, or too many. And at Oddbox, we offer a win-win solution for growers, consumers, and the planet. The way we operate is we work directly with growers. None of them grow for us, and we only buy from them the produce which are perfectly good quality but don't meet supermarket specifications or are surplus to requirements. We also ensure we pay them a fair price for this produce. They put a lot of effort into growing. And on the customer side, our customers get a weekly surprise of seasonal produce delivered directly to their door. And for them, they say it's actually like Christmas every week. And it helps them discover new types of fruit and veg and reconnect with the joy of home cooking. But actually, our customers don't just receive fruit and veg. They get the opportunity of having a huge impact in tackling climate change because they also receive a personalized impact score, which tells them what they've contributed. We also provide them with a lot of information around the provenance of the produce, stories from the farm, as well as tips and recipes to help them cook all the produce in their box. And we're also using our boxes as a medium to change behavior by educating them about food waste at farm level, what it means to eat in season, and what it means to eat in a much more flexible manner. And we do that through leveraging the power of technology. Since we launched in 5 years ago, we've delivered over 3 million boxes. We've obviously accelerated our growth through COVID, and we have now delivered to a community of over 70,000 people across the UK. We work with 60 produce suppliers, as I mentioned, none of whom grow for us, and we only take surplus produce at risk of going to waste. We started in London, and over the year we expanded geographically and are now available to over 60% of the UK households. And we've been growing our community of food waste fighters and driving awareness of the issue. Our strong proposition generates industry-leading unique economics, and we've built a scalable model delivering customer excellence and virality. Together with our community, we've rescued over 15,000 tons of produce from going to waste. That means we've avoided 17,000 tons of carbon emission and 1,700 million liters of water from going to waste, which is the equivalent of what 30,000 people would drink in their whole lifetime. And we also donate all of our surplus at the end of each week to charities who will then redistribute it to food banks and charity partners. And we've donated the equivalent of 680,000 meals to people in need in the UK. So we've got a truly circular and zero waste model. And we're only starting. So in terms of our ambition is to continue to drive more action on food waste. And by 2025, we want to have rescued 150,000 tons of fruit and veg from going to waste. Our ambition is to continue our expansion within the UK and beyond. So mainland Europe will be coming soon with a broader proposition enabling us to make a bigger dent in food waste. We started Oddbox because we not only wanted to offer a solution, but also because we believe that there needs to be broader and bigger changes in consumer behaviors to truly tackle food waste. And so a big part of what we do is around driving awareness and education around food waste. We want to create that bigger conversation. When currently only 30% of people see the link between food waste and climate change, we see actually a big opportunity to help raise that awareness. Our ultimate goal is that eventually everyone will eat in what we call a flexible, grower-led way, and people will understand the true value of food. Internally, we're also committed to leading the way in being a business for good, and we're part of the growing community of B Corp, and we've committed to be net zero by 2030. That's a journey, and we've already made quite some significant changes in our operations. We're also currently still delivering using diesel vans, but we minimize our footprint by delivering overnight, and we're committed to transitioning to a fully electric fleet by 2025. And finally, in terms of so Marco asked me the top 3 changes that I'd like to see in the industry regulatory. So first one, actually, we want food waste to become as famous as plastic waste, and a lot more actions to be put on tackling food waste and a bigger part of the government's priorities. Secondly, we can't solve what we can't measure. We currently don't measure how much food waste happens at farm level. So we're championing for mandatory food waste reporting, and we're actually delighted that it's back on the UK government's agenda. And we believe that measuring waste at every stage of the supply chain will actually compel businesses into action, and that's the first step to truly make change. And finally, we believe that the price of food waste, of the food we eat, don't currently reflect the value of the resources and the cost of regenerating the land we use. So we see actually the need to put a lot more focus on soil regeneration, and for that to be a much bigger focus and regulation to be introduced to drive progress on this. Thank you.